Today's disassembly and cleaning is going to be fueled by Black Rifle Coffee Company 5-Finger Death Punch. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Travis P11. I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. Well, today guys, we're going to take apart and clean an oldie but a goodie. We got the Ruger P94. This pistol is chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson. It is a bit of an older design. It's definitely a beefier pistol, but it is an oldie but a goodie. So what we're going to do is go ahead and talk about the basics of cleaning this firearm. We're just going to do a simple field strip and cleaning on it, nothing too complicated. To do a cleaning like this, you can use whatever cleaner you prefer. I just use the Safari Land Break Free CLP. I've been buying this stuff for years now, probably 20 plus years. Some cotton patches. You can also use cut up cotton t-shirts if you want to. Soft bristle brushes. These are just some Hoppies or some Allen brushes. Make sure that you're just using some soft plastic. Don't use any kind of metal on the surface of the firearm itself or any of the contact surfaces. And you can also use old toothbrushes if you want to. Okay, then we also have some cotton swabs or some Q-tips. One-piece cleaning rod. This just came with one of my other pistols that I got a long time ago. Makes it easy to clean out the barrel and so on. Obviously, we've taken out the magazine. We'll be checking to make sure that it's in fact unloaded. And then also we've got some bore brushes. These are some 40 caliber bore brushes that I have here. One's just a soft brass, and the other one is just nylon. So again, it won't do any kind of scratching. You can use, one-piece cleaning rods if you want to, or whatever works best for you. You could also attach, a bristle brush onto this if you want to and take it down the barrel. But for some of you, this might be your first pistol, and so congratulations, you bought yourself a neat, kind of a classic Ruger pistol. That these things are built like tanks. I kind of consider them to be the AK-47 of the handgun world. So let's just go ahead and check and ensure that the firearm is in fact unloaded. So we'll go ahead and, magazine's already out. Pull back on the slide, look down the chamber's empty. Cycled a few times if you want to, and go ahead and dry fire. Okay, you're good to go there. Now you can also use the decocking lever on the top if you want to. Also doubles as a safety, okay? All right, so now the next thing is, let's go ahead and move on to basic disassembly. So this is something we've seen on Ruger designs before, and I believe a few Smith & Wessons if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead and pull back on the slide and lock it open. Just push up on this little tab right here, and that will lock the slide open for you on your slide stop, okay? Now, if you look down into the top of your slide, there's a little metal tab right here, okay? This is part of your ejector. You wanna go ahead and push that little metal tab down. It will lock out of the way. You can no longer see it. Push it down. You're gonna have to do that in order to take off the slide. Go ahead and pull it back on the top of the slide and release gently, okay? Now, the next part here is pretty simple. You've got a couple little takedown marks right here on the top of the slide and also on the frame of the pistol. What we're going to do is we're going to grasp and pull back so that those two lines line up with each other, or you can hold it however you want to. I actually like to just kind of push up on the slide a little bit, just grasp and hold on to it this way, and that frees up my strong hand to do any kind of work that I need to. Now, while we're squeezing and holding that in that position where the two marks line up, if you flip it over, you'll be able to see the little takedown pin portion right here that's going to go with the takedown bar or pin itself. This is not going to come out completely, unlike a lot of newer pistols where you pull that pin out, it comes out completely, or say like a 1911 style. This pin is going to stay locked into the frame, so don't keep yanking on it thinking it's going to come out, because it's not going to. All right, so let's go ahead and do that right now. We'll go ahead and just push up so that the two lines are in alignment. We're going to push back on this little tab right here, and this little pin is going to come right out. There we go. Go ahead and release, and your slide is going to come right off, okay? And again, you can see how that takedown pin is just locked right into the lower part of the frame. This is a filthy little beast, so I think what we'll do is go ahead and just start off with the lower portion of the frame, and we will go from there. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is just go ahead and give the pistol just some sort of a general wipe down before we really get into doing anything with the brushes. So just go ahead and wipe off all the metal surfaces inside the frame. You can wipe off the rails, wipe off that takedown pin. Again, like I said, I have no idea how much this pistol has been fired. Now, this pistol is on loan to me from Stan, the owner of SS Pawn in Lexington, Nebraska. It's part of his private collection. And you can go and cock the hammer back if you want to. Stan's been a long-time supporter of the channel, and the firearms that you see in this channel are part of his private collection. They're not part of the store inventory, but if you guys want to give SS Pawn some information, give them a call. They will take care of your firearms needs. So Stan, thank you for loaning me this from your collection. Okay, again, just a general wipe-off. Again, real large tolerances on this pistol. Real easy to get in there and clean it out. No problems whatsoever. Now, once you kind of give everything just a general wipe-off, you may want to go ahead and take your bristle brush, and you can go through and scrub if you need to. I don't really see a lot of visible chunks or particles on here that are going to require that, so I'm just going to keep wiping off this pistol until it comes clean. So you go ahead and do the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe everything down here, okay? And we will just come back here in a minute once it's come clean, and we'll talk about the next step. Okay, go ahead and take some Q-tips that have some CLP on them and run them down the rails of the frame. There's gonna be a lot of grit and some grime that can build up there. Use that to get into some of the tighter portions of the firearm. Now, by the way, if you have the hammer back on this, if you push down on this tab, that's also going to release the hammer, so keep that in mind. You want to make sure you be careful with that and release the tab gently by pulling the trigger, okay? There you go. So I just wanted to show that to you the first time, and the only time we'll fire it like that. Again, just get in there, wipe everything off, any wet surfaces or any dirty surfaces, get them all cleaned off, get that taken care of. Okay, it's looking pretty good. You can see there's a lot of buildup on this. These pistols go back, I don't know, to the late 80s, mid 90s. First time I remember seeing one of these was around 1992 or 93 when I went shooting with some buddies of mine. Dad brought one of these along and I had a chance to play around with one. It's been 25 years almost since I had a chance to shoot one since then. So anyway, this is looking pretty good right now. Again, make sure everything gets wiped off. Okay, now we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, now the next thing I like to do is just go and take a little bit of CLP on a patch and go ahead and run that through the magazine well area. You will be amazed at the crud and the crap that will come out on your patch when you get done. Years and years of carry or years and years of use. Just some grit and grime gets in there, and you can see some of the crud down there when you look down into that grip area. Just go ahead and give that a little scrub, wipe it out. Go, bring it out. You can see we have some dirt and we've got a little bit of grease going on. That was a totally clean patch. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the slide. This is looking nice and clean. Let's get ready to go on to our next step. Okay, so just looking at this, I can see that this is going to be a pretty dirty little cleanup, and that's fine. What you want to do is go ahead and push on the back of the guide rod and spring combo. And okay, so this is a captive unit, which means you don't have to worry about the spring flying off the guide rod itself. Go ahead and take your guide rod out and your spring. Just go ahead and wipe it off. A little bit of CLP on your patch. Now, if anything, this thing is going to have more oil on it than is necessary, but that's just because it hasn't been cleaned in a very long time. I'm going to leave it fairly well lubricated, take it to the range, bring it home, and give it a nice thorough cleaning again. And that's going to be more of a preservative to keep it so it can sit around for a while, because I don't know when this pistol is going to be shot again. So go ahead and take your guide rod off to the side. Now, the barrel design is interesting. It's almost like a 1911. It's got this little cam down here. It does say 40 auto on the sides of it. Let's go ahead and shoot a little bit of CLP down the back of the barrel. We're going to let that marinate for a bit, give that a chance to kind of soak in and do its thing. Okay, so while that's going on, go ahead and take another patch with some CLP on it. Now again, when you're all done, it's cool to go ahead and wipe off any excess oil that might be necessary. You know, I take off anything that's sitting around. You don't have to have the gun overly lubricated. In fact, with the loose tolerances on this handgun, I'd say very little lubrication is really needed. Just enough for your contact surfaces, okay? Go ahead and start to wipe off the entire barrel, the outside, all the edges. On these corners, it's where you really get a lot of powder buildup on them when you clean them, so keep that in mind. Again, just kind of get your fingernails in there and scrub out some of that. You can take your brush to this at this point if you want to. In fact, I'm probably going to do that to get this cleaned up a little bit better. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to put a little bit of CLP on the brush. I'm just going to sit here and scrub for a little while, and then I'll come back and we'll do a quick barrel cleaning. So you guys can do the same. Okay, so at this point you have many different options here. I got rid of that caked on, baked on powder residue on the back. If you want, you can run your single piece cleaning rod through with your bore brushes and your patches and your barrel mops and all that fun stuff, or you can run a 40 cal bore snake through this if you want to. I've just got these little single piece cleaning rods that came with some other handguns that I bought, so we're just going to run that down a little bit. Go in from the rear, let's go ahead and give it a good scrub. Again, this barrel is pretty filthy, so I got a feeling it's going to take a decent amount of cleaning to get it nice and shiny. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and run my plastic bristle brush through it just to grab any larger particles. Really get an aggressive scrub in there. There we go. Go ahead and take your patch with a little bit of oil on it on your cleaning rod, run it down the barrel. You're going to want to keep doing this until the barrel comes clean. Okay, then what you want to do is just run a dry patch down the barrel, and what that's going to do is just, it's going to have a thin protective coating in it, but it's going to get rid of any excess oil. Again, that's something you don't want. Excess oil is going to attract lots of dirt and grime, etc. Guys, I do apologize. I am currently suffering with a little bit of a head cold, but we're getting better every day. Okay, go ahead and run another patch down there. Okay, much better. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Not bad. Okay, we'll go ahead and take that patch out. just go ahead and inspect your barrel. Make sure it's nice and shiny. Make sure you can see the grooves in there. Hopefully you can see the grooves in it. If not, you might have a barrel that is shot out pretty well. There we go. Check that out. Nice and clean. Okay, so we will go ahead and just set that off to the side with the guide rod and the spring. Okay, now moving on to the slide. Again, same situation. This thing is just filthy inside, so just go ahead and start wiping it out. Go ahead and get a little CLP on your patch and give it a little bit of a clean. You know, really, maybe it isn't that dirty. It is kind of a gunmetal finish on the gun itself, ironically enough. And with the patina and everything, it's just kind of a warm finish, so it almost looks like it's dirtier than it really is. Just go through all the different little edges, start to wipe everything off and scrub everything off. You can take your time when you do this. Get in there, all those edges and ridges, especially down by the area of the firing pin. Don't forget about the rear of the slide also. And again, all the excess oil that's on here, we're going to be wiping this off. We're not going to leave a lot of excess on it. You don't want that. Okay, push down on your decocking lever, push up. It's got a really cool finish on this thing, especially as these things start to age. You got a little bit of wear handling marks. You got some holster wear on there. It is kind of cool, man. It just almost looks like a little kind of battle-worn piece of firearms. I like that. All right. And again, these old P-Series pistols, you can pick them up. You know, I've seen them as low as $275, $300 online. I think Ruger made the P-Series up until maybe, I don't know, maybe 2009 or 2010, possibly later than that. You guys can fact check me on that if you want to. Very easy pistol to clean up. Make sure you get the front by the barrel, where the barrel comes out. That part tends to get a lot of buildup on it too. Okay, not bad. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take some Q-tips and just go through and just get all the fine little edges and areas that my cleaning patch will not get, and then we will come back in just a sec. Another area not to forget about is the front here where the guide rod is. This part is fairly dirty on this pistol. Okay, so get your Q-tip in there and kind of rub around the inside of that area. And you'll get, this was the first initial little clean in the second. So again, you know, guns get dirty. At this point, you want to take your Q-tip and put just a little dab of oil on it, okay? And then make sure that you run it down the inside of the tracks where the rails go, both sides. And then in this portion right here, all these little creaks and crevices, make sure that they've got a little bit of oil on them. Also the wear surfaces where you can see metal on metal contact, make sure you've got some oil on there. Okay, also from the back, just kind of give that a good little wipe out. Okay, now the next part we're going to move on to is this front portion where the firing pin comes out. On this, what I like to do is just take, again, a little drop of oil on a patch and just go ahead and wipe. But you want to hit this with a clean patch when you get done. You don't want oil to go back into that area where the firing pin is in that hole. I've never had any problems with it, but you can run into some issues. Make sure you really scrub good behind your extractor right here. That's a little claw that throws the shells out. You can get a pretty good buildup of powder back there also. There's a lot of sharp edges here that collect a lot of burnt powder, so keep that in mind. You can take a brush to this if you want to really give it a good scrub. This one's not too bad, so we're just going to take it as is. The gun is going to get shot, and then I'm going to take it apart again. Well, it's going to be fired at the range, and I'll take it apart again and clean it. There we go. You can see how much comes off of that little area. So again, every exposed metal piece underneath this slide, every little bit, every little square inch could potentially get dirty, so keep that in mind. Okay, we got that all done. Let's just go through the procedure of reassembly, and we are home free. Again, at this point, make sure you've got yourself some empty magazines. You can go ahead and just wipe them off with a patch also. You want to maybe go over these with a dry patch when you get done. You don't want to get any kind of gun oil in the area where your ammunition is going to be, because you don't want that to sink into your primers. It could cause some issues, misfires, and so on. But again, these need a good scrub. You can take them apart and clean them if you want to. Not something I do that often unless I heavily shoot the pistol or I'm in a real sandy, dusty environment. Then I'll take the magazines apart and clean them. But you know, typically you don't really have to worry about that. Okay, so that's all taken care of. All right, now for the reassembly, it's pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and take our barrel, and again, it's got some oil all over it, so I think it's good to go. We'll go ahead and just put the barrel back into place. Okay, it's going to lock back into the top of the slide there. There we go. Now go ahead and take your guide rod. You want the little end that's got the washer on it right here. You want to, and then you have a flat end that's going to be almost like a little, almost like a nail head saw, like the rear of a nail. Just go ahead and take that and put it back in just like such. And make sure that you've got your little loop right here on the barrel pushed back out of the way. And just go ahead and compress that guide rod. Just goes right back in. It's just going to sit, here we go, right here on top of the barrel. Well, behind the barrel, there's this little area you can see with this little pieces that moves. Okay, make sure that that stays back, and you've got your guide rod all set, ready to go. It just goes right in. If it's not perfectly flat, you're going to have yourself some problems. Okay, let's go back and continue more with the reassembly process. All right, so just a couple things real quick before we go ahead and do the reassembly here. Make sure this little tab that we pushed down earlier, make sure you have that tab down. That's what we used before we removed the slide. You want that down and out of the way. It should bring itself back up, or we can bring it back up once we reassemble and put the slide back on the frame. Make sure this little washer, little bit right here, this little lug, make sure you can see that hole completely, because your pin is going to have to go through there. That's going to be the takedown pin that's going to keep the barrel in place. Again, make sure you've got a flat surface, that it's nice and level where your guide rod is one more time. There is a little tiny notch down there that it will fall into. I know I mentioned that earlier, but if you inspect it with closer detail, there's a little shelf that it's going to pop into, and that will keep it to where it needs to go. Okay, so go ahead and just take your slide and go ahead and put it on the frame. Okay, bring it back into place. What we're going to do is just go ahead and align those two little takedown marks like we saw before. Just go ahead and put those two together, pull back a little bit, hold it in place, and let's get that to where it needs to be. There we go. And push your pin in, it should lock into place. There you go. Okay, just like such, the pin's going to go right in. If you have the tabs aligned perfectly, you should not have a problem. Go ahead and take the slide and lock it open like we did before. Now at this point, this little ejector tab is up. If it's not up, you can put your pinky in there and bring it back if you want to, or you can push it up from the bottom with a screwdriver or a cleaning rod or whatever you want to do. Go ahead and pull back on the slide. Go ahead and test it for functionality. Now this pistol did come from a time where the guns would fire without a magazine. I see no magazine disconnect notice on it whatsoever. Okay, and go ahead and push on the decocker lever. Make sure the decocker lever works. Make sure your safety works. Take it up out of the fire into the fire position. There you go. Should be good to go. And we are golden. All right, guys, so that is it. That is the disassembly of the Ruger P94 40 caliber semi-automatic pistol. It's a neat little gun. Again, you can pick these up cheap. They are built like tanks. Like I said before, they're almost kind of like the AK-47 of the handgun world in various calibers. They are very beefy, large pistols. They almost feel kind of like a full-size SIG, just kind of in general, the way they fit and feel in your hands. Real high bore axis on the rear, but they are definitely awesome, awesome guns. I'm going to wipe this down with just a general coat of oil on the outside, let that sit, wipe it off with a dry patch overnight, and then after that, it's going to be all set to go. So, guys, if you like what you see, please like or subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can also follow me on gunchannels.com. I'm also on Gunstreamer and guntube.org. And again, all over the place, so make sure you check out the channel. Got a lot more footage coming your way. Hopefully some shooting footage of this pistol will be coming up soon. Otherwise, guys, that is it. I always, practice firearm safety. Make sure you follow the basic rules of firearm safety. And guys, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care and have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.